All right. Good morning, trader. It is Tuesday, April 6th, 6 a.m. Let's take a look at what's going on in the S&P futures here. So, we put in a new all-time high yesterday. Market was very, very bullish. We had a P-shaped, uppercase P-shaped volume profile, and put in a new all-time high. So far in the overnight session, things have been relatively balanced. We're currently trading within yesterday's range, and you can see we're actually right at yesterday's POC pretty much. And this is where we're currently trading at in the overnight session. So right now, like I said, the market is mostly in balance. We have this large, bear with me. So the main distribution from yesterday, like the meat, so to speak, I'm gonna take off this lower portion. So like the meat of yesterday's profile, we're just holding in balance there basically. So all of these longs, the people that bought in this, sorry, let me zoom out just a smidge. So all the people that got in long in this section, which clearly there was a lot because we know how based on how fat the volume profile is there. They're just essentially defending their positions. So right now, we're like I said, we're just in balance, and sentiment hasn't changed relative to yesterday. And most of the indexes are kind of following suit. So the Nasdaq, the Russell, the Dow, everything is pretty much in balance. And so I'm basically just expecting us to chop around on the open. I definitely feel that we are entering a correctional phase. Oh, you know what? I just realized something. Sorry. I just realized I had the NASDAQ pulled up, not the ES. All right, so here are the S&Ps. Sorry about that. But again, I mean, we're still in balance. Instead of it being like a double distribution shape profile, it's a D-shaped profile, which is like a market that's characteristic of being in balance. The only thing that I would say is that the point of control is weighted more towards the bottom of the range. So you can see that we have more volume up here in this top portion relative to the lighter amount of volume that we have down in the bottom. So because of that, we know that we're, primarily weighted to the downside. So basically what I'm looking for a retest and potential breakthrough 4057. So what I want to see on the open is I want to see the market come down, hit 4057, break through. I want to see a retest of the overnight low, and then I want to see us to sell off pretty hard and retest yesterday's low of the day. So that is my primary bias. Is I am short. I actually put on some SPXU calls yesterday, right near the high of the day. So I'm hoping that we're gonna be short today, anyways. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. We put in a new all-time high yesterday, as I'm sure what you well know, and yeah, so like I said, because the market's been so incredibly bullish. I mean, look at the daily chart. It's just insane how immense this move has been. And this is last month's VWAP back in this area, these bands, and this is the 3 standard deviation band right here. Um, so if you know anything about statistics, like to get 3 standard deviations is really, really rare. So basically, the market is just way, way extended. I mean, I can't even see last month's VWAP on this chart. This is where the first band is. That's the second band, and so to get all the way back down to where like last month's VWAP would be, it would take a drop like this, basically. So I am expecting us to enter a correction phase. Whether it happens today or tomorrow, I don't know, but it's definitely coming. All right, so let's take a look at some equities here. Okay, fix my screen real fast. Okay, so as far as stocks goes, let me take a look at what I had set up. Okay, so there's a possible decent short setting up on Neo. So you can see we came up, we retested the trend line, and now we have trap longs up here. So I'm primarily looking for a short. We are down a little bit in pre-market, but I'm just looking for that trend line to continue to hold. You just came in. Stocks going up or down. I mean, I think we're entering a correction phase. So primarily, my bias is short today. So we're opening up in yesterday's value area on the S&P futures, which anytime you open in value, it's basically suggesting that sentiment hasn't changed. So my primary bias is short, but we may have a lot of people standing on the sidelines waiting to see what happens next until we have a clear sign of the victor. So my primary bias is short though. Anyway, so here on Neo, like I said, I'm primarily looking for a short for us to fall and then retest this pivot low down here at the bottom of the range. So as far as my targets goes, I would say around 35 right there. That would be a good target in maybe like the initial profit stage, initial profit taking between like around 37.50, 37, something like that. So possibly a decent short here on Neo for the next couple days. Okay. And then apart from that, Ford was actually really, really bullish yesterday. A lot of stocks were very bullish yesterday, which isn't totally surprising because we made a new all-time high. But you can see we've got an unfilled gap down here. We gapped up with strength, and we are currently up in pre-market. So we've got an invisible spike, basically just like that. As far as targets goes, there is definitely some headroom. Let me switch to a 1 hour here. And also one thing I just wanted to mention, um, just exercise caution if you guys are going to be opening any long positions today. The reason being is because if the S&P is entering a correctional phase and whatever equity you're trading is highly correlated to the S&P, then regardless of however strong the price action might be on your individual stock, if it's highly correlated to the S&P, it may drop anyways. So like I said, although Ford is looking definitely very bullish here, and normally I would expect us to come up here and retest the pivot high near 13. If it's really, really tightly correlated to the S&P, which I don't know how much it is, it's going to end up dropping probably, despite how strong the price action looks. So I just wanted to say that, like I said, exercise caution when opening up any new long positions today. You can actually go on Market Chameleon and bear with me. If you go on Market Chameleon and you type in a symbol like I'm going to type in Ford here. Let me see where the correlation section is. Here we are. All right. So you can see this is on marketchameleon.com. And if you look at market correlation, so you can see which symbols it is the most correlated to. And so like the highest correlation you can get is a number 1 or -1. So you're looking at this section that says R squared. Okay? So you can see that it's Ford is highly correlated with GM or General Motors by 0.82. So that's 0.82 because it's very close to 1 means that it has a very high correlation. So GM and Ford, they tend to trade together. And then as far as Ford's correlation to the S&P, if relative to the SPY, it's a 0.33 correlation. So it's not super tightly correlated to the S&P, which is good. It's mostly, as you can see, correlated to consumer cyclicals. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. You know, if you have a solid bias for the S&P, you can kind of, you know, assess your risk that way by if you know how tightly correlated your product is to that market. Okay, so since we know that Ford isn't super correlated to the S&P, that long position that I was talking about, it may be decent. You know, we may actually get that continuation that we're looking for and a retest of $13. So that was just another setup that I had in mind. Anyways, we got about 19 minutes till the open here. Again, if anybody has any stocks they'd like me to bust out for them, feel free to let me know. You can post in the chat, etc. And it's dead in here this morning. I don't know where everybody's at. Maybe they're sleeping in. Anyways, okay, so a couple other good setups that I saw. Palantir is setting up for a possible short here. I'm gonna switch to a faster time frame for this, like a let's go with a 15-minute. Okay, so you can see I got the new volume profile indicator that actually gives me the daily profiles. So you can see that we gapped up here yesterday, and we're right at this level of support. So we gapped up with a lot of strength, and then the longs would have started to get nervous when we weren't able to get back up to the high all day long, basically. So it's looking a little bit like a selling tail. And when you have a very sharp edge of the profile like that, Apple got it. Yeah, I'll bust out Apple right after this. So when you have a very sharp point like that on the volume profile extreme, it suggests aggression. So if you have a volume profile that's just kind of like that, almost like a shelf or something, let me fix that, make it a little bit better. So if you have a volume profile that's like a shelf, basically, that is a very weak high. Because we had more price acceptance up here. Like the more times you hit up into a level, the more it starts to look like the accepted price. However, if you have the opposite, which would be a volume profile with a very sharp tail on the top, which is kind of how ours looks, just like that. That suggests that the people that entered at the high were very, very aggressive. So extremes that are very pointy like this, they're stronger. That's just one thing you want to keep in mind. And then extremes that are flat like that are weaker, and they're more likely to break. So that's why this might be a really good reversal, because, like I said, we have more acceptance down here at the low, suggesting we may get continuation. We've got trapped longs up here at the high. Sorry, let me move my there we go. Trapped longs up here at the high, and then we have this gap that we would potentially come in and fill. In fact, we have two. We have another gap. Sorry, zoom out. We have another gap down here to the left. So primarily on Palantir here, I would be looking for a short with a gap fill. Come down here, test this low, and then potentially fill this second gap right in this section. So could be setting up for a very nice, kind of technical short here on Palantir. This is ticker PLTR. So P is in Paul. So Paul, Larry, Thomas, Robert. Anyways, let's take a look at Apple here. Okay, so Apple, very strong day yesterday. You can see we've got a uppercase P-shaped volume profile, so we know that we have more acceptance up here at the top of the range. As far as defense goes, this 125 level is basically my line in the sand. And yeah, I'm primarily short on the S&Ps today. Um, in any event, we're bullish in pre-market here. We're up about 29 cents, and we're testing the high of this upper area of distribution. So as far as Apple goes, I mean, it looks like a solid long to me. So would be potentially looking for a break of yesterday's high with continuation. Looks like we do have some resistance at 127. Let me zoom out here. So yeah, we are approaching a pivot high right here. That's the only other cause for concern, is that there's not a ton of headroom. So you might only be able to get like this kind of, very short-term trade before it tests that resistance potentially, and then corrects itself. So just keep your stop tight, I guess. And It looks like a decent long, but like I said, you don't have a ton of headroom there. Okay. So I don't usually pull up the SPY. I primarily go off of the futures chart, but looks like the SPY is down a little bit in pre-market, and we have this thing called an island day yesterday. So an island day is basically where you have a gap up, and you have a distribution that's kind of just floating in space like that. Um, so we'll just kind of want to keep a look at. I like to look at what the futures are doing primarily. Like if you're trying to trade the SPY, I would look at the ticker ES, um, the futures contract. So like I said, if we look at the S&P futures here, we're likely going to be opening up in yesterday's value area, which usually means the market is going to chop. I'm basically just looking as per whether or not this upper distribution is going to hold. For Nice, yeah, definitely good way. I mean, I'm glad that I'm not the only person that watches futures, because as an equities trader, you guys have a huge advantage being able to see what happened during the overnight session, and get a head start on everybody else, basically. So anyway, so like I said, I'm looking for this upper distribution to break. If we can break below the fat part of this P-shaped profile, then I'd potentially be looking for a retest of yesterday's low, followed by the previous overnight low around 40.23 or so. But yeah, I definitely feel that we're entering a phase of correction, like I was talking about in the intro here. I mean, where the third standard deviation band is from last month's VWAP. So we're real close to where that 3 standard deviation band would be. And last month's VWAP is so far down you can't even see it on the screen. So literally we would have to fall like that much to get all the way back to where last month's VWAP would be. So we are very extended. So if I was to show you what my bias would be on this daily chart here, so like I see, I'd be looking for us to drop, retest yesterday's low, and then ultimately right here around 40.20, that's where I would have my target, for the day probably, because that's like the first major area of balance right there. But I still would be looking for continuation at that point, come all the way back down, retest 4,000, and then that's where I would start thinking about maybe looking at taking a long again. So I definitely feel we need to retest that $4,000 level. And you can see that on the volume profile, we have a very big high volume node, and it's not good if the market hasn't come back to retest a very prominent high volume node like that. typically if the market is going up but it hasn't come back and retested it, it's weaker hands that are pushing the market higher, not the hedge funds and really big players, that kind of stuff. Just more like day traders that are pushing it up. Day traders that are unlikely to hold overnight, that kind of stuff. Anyways, we got 9 minutes till the open here. Does anybody have any stocks they would like me to take a look at again? We got time for maybe two more here. So we'll take while we're waiting here, I'm just going to show you guys what the other indexes look like right now. So again, this is what the S&P looks like. And then here's the daily chart on the NASDAQ. So it looks very similar, super bullish. Again, this is a daily chart. So NASDAQ still has some room higher, though. We haven't quite hit the all-time high. So, and then apart from that, this is what the daily chart on the NASDAQ looks like. So very similar to the S&P. You can see we are opening up near yesterday's point of control. And anytime we're opening up in the prior day's value area, I'm expecting the market to chop. So it might be a good time to just stand aside and wait on the sidelines until you get either a break of yesterday's high of the day or a break of this lower primary area of volume from yesterday's profile. And then as far as the Dow and the Russell goes, this is the Russell on top, and you can see that we are opening up in yesterday's value area as well. But the Russell 2000 profiles was actually inverted relative to the NASDAQ and the S&P. The Russell had a lowercase b-shaped profile and is looking largely bullish. Like we tested below yesterday's low during the overnight session, but we couldn't gain any traction. So the Russell small caps actually looks bullish to me. And then here's the Dow. So you can see that the Dow tested this lower distribution pretty severely, or pretty seriously, I should say. And they tried really hard right here, and then all these shorts got trapped. So we're remaining in balance, but you can definitely see across all the indexes, the shorts are starting to build, and the longs are starting to get a little bit nervous. Okay, well, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys. Oh, one thing, I thought this is hilarious. So my bias for yesterday, here, I'll show you what I wrote. So yesterday I said that we were gapping up and I was looking for a break of the all-time high, then continuation long. I said that I didn't really know what targets to shoot for because basically because there's no levels up here yet. We're at a new all-time high. But basically what I did is I measured the range from the previous day and I just estimated it. So yesterday the previous day's range was like, let's see, 86 to 15, so that would be 15, 29 points. So I basically said I thought it was going to be about 70 points, and I ended up being off by half a point. So I thought it was going to go to 40.75, and we went to 40.74.50. So I was I was pretty stoked about that. Also, this prep sheet, I posted this on my website, so all of you guys can get access to this for free. You just go to thetradejournals.us. This is the preparation stuff that I go through every single morning, without fail. And I put in explanations for each thing that that I'm looking at. So like, the first thing that I'm looking at is like the value area trend. Are the value areas migrating higher, or are they migrating lower? Are they overlapping, or are they like clearly higher or lower? So, anyways, I posted this thing on my website. Again, it's the tradejournals.us, and you can download it there for free. This is, like I said, what I do for prep work every single morning, and it helps a lot. I mean, the main purpose of having a sheet like this is it's just reminding you the things that you want to be looking at. But too many times, you might wake up tired and you forget to check certain things, or maybe you just don't know what to look for. So it's a really good thing to get in the habit of doing before the market, so you don't have something that's going to slip by you under the radar. So yeah, again, the tradejournals.us. Also, guys, I am expanding my YouTube channel. So I'll be posting some more stuff on there in the near future. I did post like an intro to options video that one of my mentees and I made together. So if you go to the videos, you just search for the trade journals. And the video it's titled "Watch an Options Trader Coach a Futures Trader." So he's really solid. He's my probably my most successful mentee right now, and very good options trader. Anyways, so yeah, the morning brief, you can see that they are available on the YouTube channel here, and you can actually see my full screen that way too, instead of having to watch it on TikTok. All right, guys, we got 3 minutes till the open. I'm going to wrap things up. Like I said, I am expecting chop here on the open, so it might not be a bad idea just to wait a bit and see if we can break below the primary distribution from yesterday. So again, my primary bias is short, but we're going to have a fight here on the open with all the longs that have been that have bought in so heavily, defending their positions, people profit taking, and then new shorts entering the market on the mean reversion. So anyways, I'm 40.75 or excuse me, 40.57 is my line in the sand that I'm looking for to break. Awesome. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much again for tuning in this morning. I wish you guys the best of luck today. Again, please exercise caution in opening any new long positions today. Definitely go to Market Chameleon, look up the ticker that you're trading, and then go to that correlation section to see how heavily your product is to the S&P. So again, it's marketchameleon.com. You go down to this section that says Market Correlation, and then it's this section that says R squared you want to be looking at. The higher this number is to 1, the more it's correlated to the S&P. Negative numbers have an opposite correlation, like stocks and bonds. They have an opposite correlation, so when stocks go up, bonds go down. And if it's near 0, that means that they have little to no correlation whatsoever. Yeah, you two wandering. Thanks so much for joining me again this morning, guys. Good luck on your trades today, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care.